Call the meeting back to order, and we shall continue where we recessed from. Can't remember who had the floor last.
That's a good question.
So, I guess I can start even if I didn't.
Yes,
I don't think
ma'am.
anybody was
I
on
guess
before.
I
actually have some recapture,
Oh,
a couple
sure.
of recapture slides.
absolutely.
You have the floor, sir.
Oh, recapture slides.
Sorry.
Fancy.
So last week, the board reviewed the draft budget ordinance and directed three specific revisions and another administrative one. Those revisions were reduce the tax rate by a penny, reduce the merit raise from 5 to 1.8%, reduce Block Q stormwater funding by $150,000, and then break out the Warden Smith lines between the B part and the canal dredging subdivisions. Those changes have been made, and the result in the following amounts as surpluses and shown as follows. On page 3 in the governing body line titled Transfer to the Beach and Inlet Capital Reserve Fund, that amount is $120,661. In water and sewer, it's identified as available to appropriate, page 12, as $11,421, and then in B part, the available for appropriation on page 17 stands at $168,601. So those changes were made, and they ripple all the way through on all the salary line items, and that's where I've housed those surpluses. And since the board had expressed an opinion to not have available to appropriate money, the surplus was identified. I assumed that y'all would want to transfer that to the B part fund in the general fund.
B part or beach and inlet?
I'm sorry, transfer it to the Beach and Inlet Fund, my correction. Okay. And then those other amounts are the result of the actions that you took.
Right, and just to be clear, the reduction of $150K from stormwater on Block Q is just rolled into the available.
That's $168,000.
Right, but there was like 18 sitting there before or something, right?
It was actually 11. I believe
Okay.
it was 11, and then the salary impact was about 7. So that's where the
Okay.
168 comes
All right.
from. So it lays before you for action, discussion, or whatever, however you'd like to proceed.
Thanks, David.
All right, Ms. Thomas, you have the floor.
I just wanted to come back to our discussion on the detective and ask Jeremy if he was able to come up with any alternate solutions to a full-time detective.
So, in the short time I had, I made some phone calls, beat my head on the table trying to figure stuff out. The honest answer is I don't have an alternate solution. I have some ideas, don't know if they would work or not, but in all honesty, we're doing most of those ideas already. We're trying to investigate where we can. So in its simplest form, to be completely honest, is if we don't hire a detective, we're going to continue to serve to the best of our abilities with the exact same way that we're serving now. We are not going to lower our standard. We're going to do everything we can, which is unfortunately very little. If we add the detective, then it's going to add those resources to investigations. They're going to be able to backfill patrol, just all kinds of stuff. So that's really where I'm at with it. It's, no hard feelings. It's up to you, up to the board, yes or no, whether that's a service that we want to try to provide to the town or not. Like I said, I looked at solutions and I don't have any good ones, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. Okay, so given that, and Jeremy, I remember when we went through your wish list, this was number 4 on your list, and the number 1 was the radios, number 2 was the Humvee, getting those operational, i.e. painted. Number 3 was getting 2 new vehicles, and this was the number 4th.
Correct.
And given what we had the discussion last time on, you know, the amount of work there is, I'm going to make a motion that we remove the detective and any associated costs from the budget for now. I would wholeheartedly encourage you to bring this back at any time. You know, it's not something that we only have to do now. If you can justify it at any time when you're seeing what the crimes are and or if you have an alternate solution of a part-time detective or, you know, working with the county or something, then please bring it back to us and we will reconsider it. But my motion is to take it out of the budget for now.
I'll second that. I've been wrestling with the numbers too, and actually calling, I've got a family member that's married to a detective, and bottom line is that, you know, they're doing like 95 cases, serious, no misdemeanor. So I just am very worried about hiring a full-time resource when we really don't have enough work to keep them busy the whole time. It just, you know, you can end up paying somebody more than somebody else to do less work, you know, and it can have morale problems. You could be spinning your wheels, you know, trying to spend time on things that don't warrant the time. So I really would like to have that capability met without overstaffing it with a full-time resource. And you know, I'm willing, if you need, you know, some money for overtime, to have somebody step up, and if you want to step somebody up to that level, give them some training, give them a raise, have them do it on overtime, or bring in somebody that's retired that can do detective, whatever we can work. It's just the fundamental problem is we're nowhere close to the need for a full-time resource. I mean, the volumes we've got and the crimes we've got, compared to everything I've gathered, just doesn't warrant hiring somebody. And I know you've been through this, I think, 4 years now, kind of going down the same path, and I don't know if we ended up the same spot every time, but I also very much would like to, you know, see a case that if we had this much money, this is what we could do, these are the ones we could investigate. I was pleased going through the numbers you provided that the big one, you know, deaths, missing people, those were all pretty much resolved. And even the crime spree seemed like there was a suspect identified in Charlotte. So, you know, given all that, I just, you know, seems like we're doing an okay job. And to me, the good news is we don't have the crime, which is hopefully going to remain. But, you know, if things change, then absolutely we can reconsider and we can act at any point.
Mr. Barfus, would you like to speak?
Yes, sir. To me, it's not always about the numbers. All the feedback I've had from a bunch of people is get the detective. I would depend on you to make sure that we got good value for our dollar out of this guy. This county is growing by leaps and bounds. I don't think crime is going to go down. I would rather have him than not need him right now than be the other way around, so I still support it.
Could I say one more thing, Ellen?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to make sure that the public understands that we are not removing a detective from the force. We are considering whether or not to add a detective. We are going to continue to have the same number of police officers patrolling 24/7, keeping our visitors and our residents safe, and none of that is going to change. We're not an open, you know, book, say, hey, come and do crime here. No, we're going to have the same level that we've had all along. And we haven't had a detective in, what, 5 years?
Yes, ma'am.
So nothing, people keep saying, don't cut the detective, but they don't understand that we don't have a detective. It's not about cutting, it's about not adding. I just wanted to make that clear for anyone who's listening or who listens later.
Anyone else want to speak? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no.
No.
I guess I didn't get my hand up quick enough. Or I had to step out. I'm sorry. So that was, the deletion is for the detective position only.
Yes, because, so you're.
No vehicles.
Correct,
or anything
because
like that. It's just the
Jeremy
detective's position. Okay.
says he needs those for just the 10 officers, correct?
Right.
So we're leaving the vehicles in.
Okay.
And we're just removing the detective and any associated course, because that would go across a couple things.
All right. So commissioners are satisfied with the results? Ready to move forward?
Yep.
All right. Who wants to speak?
I'll just throw something out there. I'm adding up the numbers there, and it, you know, looks like we could give back another penny, you know, the whole raise, tax increase from last year. I don't know if that's, you know, with the B part, if that's a complicated thing or how that works, but quite frankly, available for appropriation, I'd rather not have that slush fund sitting around. I'd rather have, you know, things come before us for approval and budget amendments versus having a bucket that is there to raid. How does that work?
Well, are you talking about the general fund, Dan?
Well, well,
Can you
if
move
we
them?
reduced another penny, it would come out of the general fund.
Okay, let me answer the question this way. What you're talking to is in the B part fund.
Well, we need to.
Can it go to the
yeah,
general
'cause
fund and be reduced? Yeah,
It's
used to.
238 or something per penny, so it'd be 238,000. We got 120, we got half of it in the general fund right now, so it's the other 120.
Okay.
And I don't know.
So what you're, I'm sorry, you didn't finish what you were saying.
No, I just am throwing it out there for discussion, and I want to make sure it's doable. You know, given that some of the available for appropriation amount is sitting in B part, and there's not quite enough in the general fund right now to fund that. So
How would that work,
is it a
David?
doable thing, or is it not?
I'm not understanding your question. You're using B part in the general fund
Well-
in the context of a penny. And
Yeah.
I'm not getting your meaning.
Okay.
Please bear with
The
me.
goal is, if we have funds available for appropriation that are not committed to something in the budget, then I'm in favor of giving that back to the taxpayers. And it seems like, you know, we have enough to give back an additional penny, so it would be 2 cents back, which would be the amount that taxes were increased last year. But
So what you're saying is that 120,000 plus the detective, you're getting to 238?
I don't think we get it with the detective. I think we got it on those numbers, and that's where, I mean, if I'm just adding them up, you know, we're
I
sitting
think the
at.
question is, can we use B part funds to give back the penny? We're not sure because of the different buckets how it all works.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
Well, that's the
Because
question.
you can't, because your B part funds are specifically by law for tourism-related expenses and beach nourishment. Plus, you gotta give some to the
But you
county.
move stuff from the general fund to the B part.
There's nothing that says you can't move money from the general fund. That's why the term general is used. You can use it for generally any kind of services that you want to. The B part fund is restricted. It's a restricted revenue fund. And if you're gonna say that you're gonna pay back a penny on the tax rate, I think that is not correct. That is, sending a penny to the general fund to pay back the general fund is not a tourism-related, nor is it a beach nourishment expense.
Understood, okay.
That was the question.
That was the
Dave.
question,
That's
was
what we
could-
were, that's what he was trying to ask when he looks
Okay,
at those numbers. They add up together, but
Yeah, I
they
mean,
can't be used for that purpose, is
Right.
what you're saying.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
like we've all got almost
And
300,000 in,
In the beginning, I believe that there was guidance from the board that you wanted to minimize transfers,
Oh, yep.
fund balance appropriations and to minimize, although there was a professed desire to contribute to the inlet and capital reserve fund.
Yep.
So whenever
Yes.
these surpluses, specifically the B part available to appropriate line,
Yep.
Yes.
that is a matter of convenience, administrative convenience, because there is already an appropriation, a transfer from the B part fund over to the beach and inlet,
Yep.
beach and inlet fund. So, it's what y'all would like to do within the confines of the law.
Yes.
So you could either keep it as available to appropriate, I'm talking about B Park.
Yep.
You could either keep it as available to appropriate or send it to the Inlet and Capital Reserve Fund.
Okay. I would rather send it to the Capital Reserve Fund personally.
I'd rather keep it right where it is for now, because we don't have the ADA assessment in. That would likely come out of B Part. And, you know, we're just getting started in this year. David, we could send that amount or some amount to the Beach and Inlet Fund at any time of the year, right? We don't have
Yes.
to do it right up front.
You can.
So I would let it sit and let's see how the year plays out.
So I just want to clarify, the ADA assessment's in the budget right now, is that correct?
That's the study.
Study.
Right.
That's the
Okay.
study.
And we have a lot of ADA stuff on top of
Or
that already.
evaluation, or
Right.
the
But we also
evaluation
have
part.
some actual ADA implementation in the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully, everything,
well, except what the study shows.
but we can get permitted.
Yeah.
Okay, that answered my question, which was basically, was there any way to give back another penny? And I'm hearing no, so we
From-
won't.
From the B Park fund.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly enough about throwing it into the fund now. I can live with leaving it there.
Yeah, me too. That's good.
So what I'm getting is that delete the detective is the change to this.
Correct. That was all I had.
I do have one thing, it's an administrative detail that's going to change some of these. We got the money back from, Harbor Acres Canal dredging, it's 140-some thousand that we got back. And, we'll ring that into the books this year, but it's gonna change the balance forward in the budget for next year. So, when you get it, we'll, put that money in this year's budget, and then we'll carry it forward. So that'll be a change from what's.
And that'll be in one of the canal things, right?
Yeah, Harbor
Okay.
Acres, yeah.
So that's,
It's Harbor Acres, and it's
Yep.
just that the balance forward is gonna change by $140,000 to reflect that money that's being reimbursed.
no problem.
And
Thank you for
Now,
sharing.
that'd be in the Harbor Acres revenues lines, it'd be in the balance forward, it'd be in addition to what's in the balance forward line now.
Perfect.
okay, and all of this will get in time for the public hearing next Tuesday?
No,
No? That won't either? Okay.
I don't think so. Because Heather's got to send the packets out.
No, not to us, not in the package, but we'll have an updated version
Oh,
by
yeah.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that-
It's just not gonna be able to get out before,
In the package?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine, that's fine. As long as we can have it, the final version, and the
Sure.
public sees the final version recommendation of all this process.
yeah, we can get something together that'll, for the public here, that'll be administratively correct for deleting the detective.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Now, the exact timing on when that's out, we'll have it for the meeting, for sure.
Perfect. You have anything else?
I'm done. Anybody got anything else? We had a motion, we made that, we voted on that. If there's nothing else to discuss, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all for being here.